So we made it to the KOA in the Outer Banks.
Do we know for like in the shot?
I don't know. We're gonna try this and just see what happens.
Okay.
When we got here, the site that they originally were going to put us in, we wasn't going to fit.
We were too small.
So the guy got on the radio. The second site they were going to put us in was a mud puddle. And so we got kind of a little bit of an upgrade to a 50 amp site. We'll talk a little bit more about the KOA in a little while. Today we are on our way up to the northern part of the Outer Banks to Kitty Hawk and the Wright Brothers. For the last week I've been watching the weather, and today was the one really questionable day with a high chance of rain and some storms. So we figured we'd hit some museums and do some inside stuff.
And
today.
From what we understand, it's like a half inside outside, so we're just gonna kind of play it by.
Yeah, we'll see. So this is we're gonna kind of do this as we fly by the seat of our pants. There's also a Jockey Ridge State Park up there that if the weather clears, we may try and go check out. And then there's another park, museum sort of thing on Roanoke Island. So we're going to see what the first day of the Outer Banks has in store for us. So
it's not a beach day.
Nope. Not a beach day. So let's ride along and see where we go. So we actually got kind of lucky. The rain and storms
pretty much held off.
Yeah,
we had a little drizzle here and there.
Yeah, they kind of blew apart as they got to us. So as we got up to the Wright Brothers Museum, it was actually great because yes, there was some inside, but a lot of it was outside.
It was probably half and half. I mean, you could have spent a long time inside reading all the things and seeing all the little pieces and parts, but the actual flight line, of course.
Right. The museum inside is really good about the Wright Brothers themselves.
They're from the beginning,
right. Yeah, right. From their parents to their family, how they grew up, what all they were interested in, and how
they kind of got interested in flight in general. Exactly.
And then kind of what their process they went through, the different things that they had to experiment with, and actually how they found Kitty Hawk, which I think was kind of neat.
Yeah, because you always, they're from Dayton, Ohio. You hear about that often, and then all of a sudden they flew in North Carolina, and you're like, well, why? But they had three things they were looking for. So they were looking for isolation because they wanted to keep it a secret. They were looking for
a soft place to
land,
to crash. Really?
I mean, well, they just recently had a friend that died
because he couldn't control his,
and he landed on rocks.
Yeah.
And they wanted wind.
So they done some research and found out that this was a good place. So they came here for 3 different years. We actually were very fortunate that we were able to get a ranger tour. Right now, this time of year, they're doing 3 a day. During the summer, they may do more regular. It's about a 30-minute talk again about the brothers, their interest in flight, the process of the experiments that they did,
and even how to tell them apart.
That's true.
So the one with the bushy mustache is Orville.
And then the different prototypes that they made of kites, and then eventually gliders. And once they figured out how to control, then they were able to put an engine on it. They go through that process. Then you go out to where they actually took off. They've recreated a couple of the sheds that they were working out of when they came down here, and the line, and you get to see where the 4 flights that happened that day all happened to be lined up, which I thought was really neat. The progression and how they went a little bit further each time.
And they flipped a coin. It was kind of interesting. They flipped a coin to see who got to go first.
Yep.
So it was, one went 120 feet, one went like 150 some feet, and then it got progressively longer, and then the last one went 852 feet.
Yeah, so it was really neat. And then kind of back up from the flight line, there's Big Hill, Kill Devil's Hill, where they've built the memorial. They actually did it on the 25th anniversary of their first flight. You can walk up there. Now, it was really windy when we went. That walk up starts off. We started on the backside. It started off progressively not too bad, but it got steeper and steeper till we got to the top.
It was like sloped a little bit more, straight up to the top. But although it was windy, and although like my eyes started watering, and Sammy's eyes started watering, the winds were high, a little bit higher the later we were there. But the view from the top was amazing.
Pretty impressive. So it was really neat. We're glad we got up there. Then we went and got some lunch.
At Barefoot Bernie's.
Highly
recommend.
About 4 miles north of the Wright Brothers Museum. I got the mahi sandwich.
I got the crispy mahi tacos.
Sam Henry's got a pizza.
But Claire got fish and chips. And
very good meal, suggested by someone that we know up here with the Chamber of Commerce. So that was
a win.
A good lunch. Then we rode down to Jockey Ridge State Park.
Unique.
Yes, there's actually a hang gliding school there. They hang glide off of the dunes. It's windy. That's why they came here to build airplanes. So that was kind of neat. And now we're going to ride over to. We're in the process of riding over to Roanoke Island. We're going to see what sort of things are there before we head back to kind of wrap up our first full day here. So far, it's off to a good start. I will say there is so much stuff to do up here. You could stay here for 2 weeks
and
have plenty to do.
I mean, between the lighthouses, the history, and Kitty Hawk, you really could spend a day.
Absolutely.
If the weather was pretty. I mean, you could spend a day at Kitty Hawk. You could spend a day at Jockey Ridge. I mean, we were only at Jockey Ridge a little while, but the visitor center, museum, kind of explaining about the dunes, the ecology, the animals, super cool. And we just went down the short walk and a little bit into the dunes, and they were so unique. They were so much like finer grain than any sand I've ever been around. And just learning about that was super cool. But you can go way into that and watch sunsets. You can fly kites over there. You could 100% fly kites. No wonder there's kites everywhere. Everywhere you can put a kite up.
Go hang glide.
And you can learn how to hang glide.
So, pretty neat. So far, we're impressed with the first day. We'll check back in here in a little bit after we've been over to Manteo, is the town on Roanoke Island. And we'll share that here in just a few minutes.
Unfortunately, by the time we got to Manteo, the little lighthouse had closed. I think it was 4 o'clock. They closed at 4 o'clock, and we got there like right at 4:05. We did find an incredible ice cream joint and had some really good ice cream with the kids. There's lots and lots of shopping. Probably during season, it is a very busy downtown area. There's some other history things to see there as well. So we would highly recommend it. We just happened to miss the lighthouse that day. We did manage to come back over to Manteo another day in the trip, and that's a super interesting event. But tomorrow we're going to Ocracoke Island, and we'll tell you all about that.